آياته فهو الكريم المنزل وقل قال الله جل جلاله والمصطفى الهادي ولا أتأول.
فإن الله لا يحب الكافرين إن الله لا يحب المفسدين فإن الله عدو للكافرين. Is Allah saying kufr in any of this? It's kuffar. Without Walāa and Barāa, there's no Aqidah, there's no Tawhīd, there's no La ilaha illallah. Deficiency in this matter, Walāa and Barāa, is saying the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are people who I'd be loyal and love. Focus with me on this matter. Kufr, shirk, sins are haram. They're hated. They must be hated. It's part of Walāa and Barāa. And they must be warned of. Many of the modernists and the munafiqeen agree on this, apparently. Some of them maybe. But pay attention. If you look carefully and study in the Quran and analyze the verses on this matter, and it's from the wisdom of Al-Alim, Al-Khabir, that the Quran rarely mentions hate towards shirk or kufr or sins itself, except in some, even though it's hated and it's part of Walāa and Barāa. There's few like Wallahu la yuhibbul fasad, or another one وَلَا يَرْضَى لِعِبَادِهِ الْكُفْرِ. In general, the verses on shirk and kufr are in a deterrent context. قُلْ تَعَالَوْا أَتْلُ مَا حَرَّمَ رَبُّكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ أَلَّا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is deterrent from the sins. Generally, when it's the context of talking about shirk and kufr and haram. وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ. Another one. قُلْ إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَبِّيَ الْفَوَاحِشَ مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ. Your Tawhīd is not Tawhīd without despising shirk itself. Yes. Yet the overwhelming majority of the verses are focused on mentioning the despising of kuffar themselves, even though despising both is part of Walāa and Barāa and part of Islam. The focus is on despising the mushrikeen and kuffar themselves. And that is exactly the opposite of what the surrenderous munafiqeen are doing today. And they have an agenda behind that. If there was no verse in the Quran on the Barāa from kuffar themselves and what they worship other than what Ibrahim alayhi salam mentioned, it would be sufficient, more than sufficient. قد كانت لكم أسوة حسنة في إبراهيم والذين معه. You have an example, an excellent example in Ibrahim and those with him. إذ قالوا لقومهم إنا براء منكم ومما تعبدون من دون الله. They said to their people, we fully disassociate ourselves from you. إنا براء منكم. We free ourselves from you. إنا براء منكم. We disown you. إنا براء منكم. We shun you. ومما تعبدون من دون الله. And we free ourselves from your shirk. We disown. ومما تعبدون من دون الله. We disown ourselves from your shirk. ومما تعبدون من دون الله. We shun your shirk. So it's them and their shirk. Emphasis on top of emphasis. كفرنا بكم. We reject you. We do barā'a from you. We do barā'a from you. Shirk and mushrikeen, to a muwahhid, he despises and hates both. إِنَّا بُرَآءُ مِنْكُمْ وَمِمَّا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the beginning, you have an excellent example in Ibrahim. Someone will say, well, they shunned them, they hated them, and they said that because they abused them. You hear that all the time. But the verse is beyond clear. They said, we are free from you. Right? Barā'u minkum. Until when? Until when are we free from you? We disassociate from you. Until when? until you stop oppressing us, until you stop torturing us, until you stop abusing us, until you give us our land back. كفرنا بكم وبدا بيننا وبينكم العداوة والبغضاء أبدا حتى تؤمنوا بالله وحده. حتى تؤمنوا بالله وحده. Enmity and hatred will continue حتى تؤمنوا بالله وحده, until you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. It can't get any clearer than that. Then, like I mentioned, the hadith, the scholar statements on this are very clear. To separate between shirk and a mushrik, or kufr and a kafir, is basically saying that Jahannam was created as a vacant dwelling in vain. Kufr may enter Jahannam, but not the kafir. Their deviance means Jahannam will be vacant of mankind.
وبحنيفة ثم أحمد ينقل فإن اتبعت سبيلهم فموفق